I was talking about the stupid shit that the Trump administration is attempting to do and the shit that DOJ, a non existent government agency, is trying to do. And this person says they want the states to handle education. You're a funny guy. The states already handle education. Educational standards, what your kids learn, the curriculum that your kids absorb at school is already set at the state level. What the Department of Education does is it helps finance all of that. It's the funding for all of that. Let me ask you a question. How is your state going to fund and finance the Department of Education in their state? How? That's what the Department of Education at the federal level does, right? Among other things, kind of overarching this thing here. But they fund it. Your education, what your kid learns when he or she opens a book in school and starts to go through a lesson plan, that curriculum is already set at the state level. Has been for years. Illinois teaches what Illinois wants to teach. Texas teaches what Texas wants to teach. California teaches what it wants to teach, so forth and so on. I'm simplifying this, obviously, but it's already handled at the state level. What the Department of Education, for the most part, took care of was the money. So how is your state going to fund that education once it loses that federal funding? And don't tell me that when we lose the Department of Education, when the federal government does away with it, if they do, if Congress actually votes to dismantle and do away with the Department of Education, don't tell me that all of a sudden the federal government is going to stop collecting those taxes from the states that the states were sending to it. That's never going to happen. The federal government doesn't stop collecting taxes on things like that just because they think that you guys are going to want it that way. So when the federal government, if the federal government dismantles the Department of Education and does away with it, it's not going to change your kid's curriculum one bit because your state already handles your kid's curriculum. But now your state is going to have to figure out the funding for all of that. Now your state is going to have to figure out how to pay for all of that. You know what this helps? This helps private schools, right? This helps those religious schools that get those school vouchers. You know, you always hear the Republicans talk about school choice. That's what they're talking about, right? They want for people who have money to be able to put their kids in a private school where they don't have to worry about the federal government supplying the funding for it. They can supply the funding through private donations, and we'll go ahead and we'll kick in some money for that. But not for that public school shit. Nah. We want to cut all of that back down to zero if we can. Why? Once again, I'm simplifying all of this. There are layers to all of this, but why do they want this to happen? So that the people that have the resources, the people that are already in the big fucking tent, right? The people with the money and the power can continue to make sure that their children are educated so that their children can continue to control the levers of power and have the money while your children don't get a quality education and remain just smart enough to keep working those machines and showing up to those jobs, to paraphrase, of course, George Carlin. The states already handle your education requirements when it comes to curriculum. The federal government isn't determining what little Timmy and what little Sally learn in your state. Your state already does that.